All right, we are back. Peanut Gallery.
Talk about some stuff.
Other than the big news, which we'll talk about separately. Let's get into this.
Yeah, so Goldberg said that he's never going to work with AEW,
Yep.
which is pretty much confirmed at this point that he did talk to Tony, but he has no interest. He specifically called AEW cheesy.
Yeah, he called it too cheesy. That's hilarious. Well, okay, I'm sorry. Goldberg is... I mean, the dude is a certified...
The guy was in the cheesiest eras of the cheesiest promotions, and he calls AEW cheesy.
But he was never booked as being somebody that was cheesy, other than maybe 2002, 2005 WWE. But he was the badass killer.
Right.
He was former NFL. He was built like a badass. He was Goldberg.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty funny. I wasn't sure if we were going to cover that during our thing, but it was like one little blurb.
It was one little blurb. All right, so Broken Matt Hardy and others did arrive indeed at TNA's pay-per-view. So Matt Hardy is not under contract.
Mm-hmm.
We did see that Mike Santana and
Steve Maclin
re-signed, but Broken Matt, I think, is only working on an appearance-by-appearance basis. So out of the people that returned, obviously...
Sammy Callahan also signed with the company.
Yeah, he re-signed with the company, but Matt Hardy is just working this. I think he's just working this angle with Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth.
Yep, but we also have to bring up Steph DeLander and Matt Cardona, who are also as... free agents. They are not signed with the company.
They are not signed with the company either. So Stardom is now a full subsidiary of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh.
And we kind of saw this coming. I think that this may become an instance where Stardom essentially becomes a women's division. It really just depends on how many people leave Stardom.
For Mari Gold.
Right, for Mari Gold. Because there is indication that quite a few people are going to be leaving Stardom.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in the slightest. This has really divided Stardom. I mean, they're definitely hurt. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Really, Rossi does have loyalty to the women's division now,
and that's really what Japan has always been built on. Kind of like in Mexico, it's always been built around the person, not necessarily the company.
Right, exactly. I mean, really, this whole firing and separation thing has been such a net negative for Stardom in pretty much every capacity.
Oh, absolutely. And then we got... so this essentially is a merger of both trios' titles.
Okay. Which one are they going to be keeping? Because they literally just, I'm not kidding you, not even a month ago, they had a total redesign of the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championship.
Yeah, I know.
A total redesign.
And it's stupid, but technically it was a title unification match.
Was it a title unification or a winner-take-all? There's a big difference between those two.
I think the way it was worded, it was a unification match.
Okay.
So now it's the unified trios titles is, from what I hear, that is what is going by.
Okay. Maybe they're trying to figure out if they want to actually be dedicated to the unification. That's why there are still two different champions.
Yeah, kind of like what WWE did with
the Undisputed Tag Team Champions.
So maybe they're going down that route.
Yep.
Will Nightingale, she's not ready for this belt, man. I don't know why.
Because of what happened at that one place where Mercedes got hurt. They're just trying to run it back because they think it's a big draw.
I don't understand why you're not putting Mercedes into matches. I mean, she's not as big of a deal as people make her out to be.
And the numbers are proving it. I'm sorry. You just can't have her continuously talk every show. She is not drawing.
You're literally hurting her stock by
her worst asset. And we said this last week. Every time you have her go out there and cut a promo and do her dance, it is becoming more and more cringy. It's becoming more and more apparent that she is not as good as she says she is. And it's perception. Perception is reality in wrestling. So having her do the worst thing that she could do, which is this. Like, here, the best way that you could have done that is have her be on the show and then literally don't put her on. If you're not going to have her wrestle every week, or at least somewhat, don't put her on the show at all. Because you are overexposing.
Yes, you are overexposing
her worst asset.
Yeah, and then by the time she actually does have her match, how many people are honestly going to be there's no anticipation, there's no build up to this.
Right.
It's just her talking week in and week out about this and that and the other thing.
They did it so good when they brought in Saraya.
Yeah,
they did it so good because they did the exact same thing. They established a rivalry with her and Baker.
Yep.
They were out there somewhat, and they continued the interest.
Right.
They weren't out there all the time.
Right.
So this is they just literally tripped on what made Saraya so successful.
Yeah.
And it face planted.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just been embarrassing.
Oh, yeah, it has been very embarrassing. So we're gonna go back to this one because it was given 6.5 stars by Dave Meltzer, and like you said, it was a good match. It was actually a pretty excellent match. It was one of the best matches of the entire night. But 6.5 stars.
This is not. He literally, I am not kidding you, thought that this match was better than Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker at both WrestleManias. And those matches were awesome.
Well, yeah, they had a great.
They were better than this match.
Right.
And I liked this match. I mean, this is definitely match of the year candidate. It's there.
Right.
Trust me. Now, when they say dream match, this was a dream match.
Yes, it was. This is the only time they have never fought each other before. So it was a literal dream match, and they saved it for a pay-per-view, which is exactly what dream matches are for.
Right.
That's what pay-per-views are for. They're for dream matches.
Right. So this was fine, but giving it that kind of praise and that kind of stuff is not going to help anything.
Yeah, it's very clear to me that Dave Meltzer is being paid by this company.
Exactly. God, I mean, well, Shahid is paying Dave Meltzer.
Oh, yeah,
let's put it that way.
Oh
my God, this was such a bad choice. I'm gonna really lay into this, but Hook is leaving this company. He
absolutely. Chris Jericho. Not only did he win this title and he's fatter than ever, but now he's forming another stable.
The Inner Circle was the best out of the ones, and I didn't even like the Jericho Appreciation Society.
The amount of stables that this guy produces is ludicrous at this point.
It's getting almost comical.
It is. I swear to God, this is a comedy skit.
I hate
Chris Jericho forming another faction. It's just like, who's booking him? Is Vince Russo specifically booking him?
I mean, here's what I think. I think Jericho is intentionally doing this not to bring up anybody. Now, maybe
but to make himself the center of attention all the time.
Not only that, but to mask him.
Oh.
So they can put a bunch of people around him that are younger and better wrestlers than Chris Jericho, so he looks like he's a badass. Now, this one at least might feel different. If he becomes like a pseudo cult leader with the learning tree, it could work.
But we've already seen a learning tree gimmick with Brian Myers. Remember in TNA when he had that?
But I mean that was very slow, and also Brian Myers does not have the pedigree as Chris Jericho.
That's true.
Chris Jericho is a WrestleMania main eventer, multi-time world champion,
but it's still an act that we have seen before, and quite frankly,
you know what?
Something needs to change with this one.
I am going to be optimistic about this one. If they do this right, it could be really good.
Would you think AEW is going to do this thing right? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day.
Moving on. This was a good choice.
Yes, this was the only logical choice.
But I did not like the fact that he was not given the opportunity to speak at the Dynamite right afterwards.
Yes, they didn't. They threw him in a match with a guy who hasn't won a singles match in AEW since he signed with the company.
Right. And he also he gave a very generic promo on Collision.
Yeah, I heard it was not good at all.
Yeah, it was very generic, your typical face, whatever. I mean, I don't know.
I am very saddened. I mean, this is the first Black World Champion that the company has ever had. It was the right choice, and so far they are not following up
very well with this one. They gave two lesser titles a lot of time. So Kenny Omega is going to make a return, probably not to the ring, but he's coming back in a couple of weeks.
Apparently, he didn't even know that he was returning until the arena promoted it.
Did not hear about that one.
He didn't even. The company
did no one consult with him first?
No, apparently they're just like, oh, he's returning. We got to pop the rating.
Well, they're in Winnipeg. We got to pop the rating for someone.
Well, they're trying to fill in the seats, and I'm just not sure if Kenny Omega is going to be the guy to do it. He's not returning to wrestle. He's not wrestling.
He's not wrestling right now. No, he's got to have some surgery, man.
Yeah,
he's going to be out for a while.
Intestine surgery.
Yeah.
You think he's going to be coming back anytime soon?
Right, seriously.
God.
So let's talk about...
I love this.
So let's talk about this...
Double-edged sword.
This faction. Let's talk about... Because I specifically want to talk about this evolution of this faction with the Young Bucks and
Young Bucks, Okada, now with Jack Perry.
It actually adds a little bit of credibility, I think, to this.
I like it. It just like a fresh bloodline.
Yes.
We are getting a fresh elite. If the Young Bucks have this drastic character change, Okada as a drastic character change with Jack Perry as a drastic character change, it's good. Now, the part that I did not like is Tony Khan being a on-screen personality.
Not only Tony, but Shahid was also an on-screen character.
Now
for a
we should probably break this more down in a few segments.
Yeah, I did want to acknowledge.
I have to give the flowers to it.
Yeah, I did want to acknowledge that this version of the Elite is a lot better.
Yes. Now follow up with some more brutality. Now you have some titles on people. Now we got to give Jack Perry a title.
Yes.
I think TNT would be a great title.
Oh, absolutely. We'll talk more about this, but the neck brace appeared on NFL Network.
Oh my God!
During the draft,
he got absolutely incinerated too.
And Shahid just looks.
That's the smile that a father gives when he's about to take off the belt and smack the shit out of his brat.
Right. But apparently he is going to be donating his neck brace to charity.
Yeah, no, I did hear that. So I mean, I guess that's cool.
I think he's going to sign it though. So Dominic Mysterio is out with an injury.
Now, I do not know the extent of the injury, but apparently he does not have to have surgery.
No, he does not have to have surgery. But yes, he has an injury.
I think it's an elbow injury.
It is, I think. So yeah, that's probably why
that's why the sling is there.
Yes. Poor Cameron Grimes. But he was one of a couple of other releases that happened in the WWE. Von Wagner, second generation wrestler, he never really just got off the ground though.
Well, they started to do good with the announcer's table spot that he was going on, but it was just a little too late.
Yeah.
They pushed him too hard too soon with NXT 2.0.
Yeah.
So people turned on him there. Then they started to come back with the table spot and showing his personality. But then they just didn't capitalize on it after that.
But let's talk about Cameron Grimes though. He was told like last week that his job in the WWE was guaranteed.
Now we do not know who it came from. He did not name drop anybody.
But it's just kind of unfortunate that he had to find out that way and find out after he was told that his job was fine.
Right.
Like that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Cameron Grimes is one of those people that I think will be 100% fine in the world. I mean...
Oh, yeah, he's 30 years old. He has all the talent in the world.
He already had a really good reputation. You can go back to TNA. Yep. He said he wants to work in Japan. I can see him go to Mexico. He's going to be fine. He has credibility. He knows how to do this safely and well. Does it suck? Was it his dream? Yeah. But I think his dad actually died after he was signed. So at the very least, his dad, who really helped, who really pushed him to be a wrestler, got to see him wrestle on the biggest stage. So he will be fine. Yeah. The video was heartbreaking. You can tell that he was very sad that he was released from the company. Here's the thing. He's 30.
Yeah.
He has the ability to come back.
Yes.
Drew McIntyre had the same thing. He left. He proved himself. He came back.
Yep.
Cameron, you can do the same thing.
Yep. Exactly. So let's talk a little bit more about Vince McMahon. So a couple of things relating to the lawsuit happened. So Vince McMahon put in it was something to stop the lawsuit or a portion of the lawsuit from going through. It's like a motion. He
filed an injunction.
Yes.
I do not know on what portion of the lawsuit was the injunction
targeted. But the lawyers But Janelle Grant's lawyers clapped back and kind of said, okay, well, we're going to do a counter injunction to be like, you're not going to do this. So a lot of things are happening right now with regards to the trial. So obviously, it kind of proves to me that Vince might know something, or maybe something is going to come out that Vince is not going to appreciate.
Now the injunction just stops the lawsuit. It basically says that you don't have enough evidence. And remember, the lawsuit, even with the injunctions, even if they don't go through, a jury has to look at it. A judge has to look at it and see if it'll even see a courtroom.
Because they're not even at the courtroom.
They're not even sniffing it. Like I said, it's probably gonna be another year before we even get a major update regarding Mr. McMahon going to court. Period.
Right. And then also he did sell the remaining shares of his TKO stock, so he is now no longer involved at all in the WWE.
Now, I think you have a picture of him in here, Nick Khan.
Yes, Nick Khan also.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
But Nick Khan also sold all of his shares.
Yes.
Or is selling all of his shares. Valhalla is having a second child. So
that's why she's gone.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, she is pregos.
Oh, I didn't know.
Okay.
Cool.
So obviously the draft is happening. A lot of non-things were happening.
People need to chill out about that. I made this on my TikTok and I reposted it here. But people need to chill out. What do you think was going to happen? Do you think there was going to be a bunch of big sweeping changes? I was more curious about the NXT call-ups.
Yeah.
So,
and then there are more stars on Monday's episode that have the potential to switch, and then they also have until like May 4th to make the final changes. So these changes that you see right now, they're not set in stone. Yeah,
we're going to see these on social media. People are going to announce it online. This is just the public version of it. There's a lot of people in this draft. So
and again, I think that a report came out that the reason there weren't a lot of them is because they're just kind of testing things out.
Right.
To see exactly what this reaction would be. And then finally, we have a Speed champion that has been crowned. It is a spoiler, and it is Ricochet.
Yes, it is Ricochet.
That episode will premiere on Wednesday on X.
Yes. So apparently, I'm not sure where I put it, but so Nick Khan, let's briefly touch upon this. So he sold all of his shares in WWE.
Yes.
What does that mean exactly? It could mean something or it can mean nothing. It does not. Just because he is selling all of his shares does not necessarily mean he is leaving the company.
No, I don't think he's not. There's no indication that he is leaving the company.
Yeah.
I just think that he wanted to take advantage of higher prices. So
this happens all the time.
Yeah.
So
he'll probably end up rebuying some. He probably has stock options listed in his
contract. Right.
He's
just taking advantage of the prices because right now they're sky effing high and they're only going to get higher.
So that's all we've got. When we come back, we're going to talk about Dynasty, I think.
Yes, we are.
All right.